go over some things that need to be dealt with on all levels. From what I understand, Bobby's going to be here for a minute. This is an open eye / first eye production. We're going to be doing this at least once a month, bringing in the brothers and sisters who drop information. And Bobby Hemmitt, who needs no introduction, is another piece to the puzzle. See, one lecturer might come in and you may not understand where he's going until the next brother comes in and adds that other piece. And even that's fragmented, as Bobby will be the first to tell you. So it's all fragmented information. So we're going to bring all of these pieces together. The thing I love about Bobby Hemmitt is that he's going to rock your box. You know, we all live in a box. And if you're a Christian, you live in a real tight box, a real tight-ass box. You know what I'm saying? Information, brothers be bringing the truth around you, you can't see it and you don't want to accept it. But us in the metaphysical world, you know, I get comfortable. You know, Bobby's offered me the red pill, and now I got comfortable with my box. You know, I can deal with a whole bunch of information. And then here comes Bobby to rock my box once again to show and prove that I don't know shit. And I love it. So your box is going to be rocked tonight. Better believe it. Quick note for the hecklers, the conscious hecklers. Stop it. If you're a conscious heckler, let the brother, you know, because we're rhythmic people. So the brother getting in the rhythm, you know, if you got questions, he's going to be here all night. Save your questions. Don't let the brother build up the momentum and then you want to get in and stop the momentum, because then you got to stop from the bottom and build it back up. So all the conscious hecklers, you know who you are. Just write down your questions and we'll get to them. I'm pretty sure Bobby will answer all your questions. Another note is we got some green juice here during the break. I want to mention that now because I don't know how long it's going to be going on, but get that green juice. I think it's $3 or $4 a bottle, because you're going to need the energy, because Bobby's going to take it there. Also, when we break, don't eat too heavy, please. Niggeritis will kick in and then Bobby will take it to another level and you can't get up there and process that information. So eat, but don't eat too heavy. Okay, we in it for the long haul tonight. We got a lot to talk about. And I also want to mention April 5th, we're bringing in Brother Phil Valentine. He's going to do part 2 to the Code Breakers, and it's going to be up the hook. So you gotta sign our mailing list, because once a month we're going to be trying to do it. And then we're going to pick up the pace. We might go twice a month. So stay with us. So sign that mailing list. And with no further ado, brothers and sisters, I present to you brother all the way from Atlantis, Brother Bobby Hemmitt. Let's give him a black hand.
All right. And we want to give a shout out to Brother Shabazz putting this thing on. Brother out there selling the tapes. What's that? What's that?
Flatbush and Fulton.
Flatbush and Fulton. So y'all need to go and frequent the brother, frequent Black God. He has a new series of CDs coming out, he says. And you never know how much you miss this stuff until it dries up and you can't find it nowhere. And that happens from time to time. You know, either this stuff is so old and so copied or so duplicated and all, so you still can't do anything. But fortunately, we got hookups from around the country, different people and stuff around the country. I was introduced to this brother by Sister Delbra that I worked with for the last 3 years, that you all probably met the last time she blew through, I think, during the World Trade Center when we had that whole thing that went down. So like I said, you gotta always support that. It's not really bad here in New York because you do have a lot of places that you can go and get it, but the rest of the country is ridiculous. You know, it's ridiculous. But and like I said, this stuff is drying up fast. There's a new conspiracy to stop all of this type of stuff. That's why you got to roll with the spirit realm and all. You don't have to worry about that. When I'm saying spirit realm, I'm not talking about I'm praying like a Muslim or I believe in Jesus and God, because the government knows that if you tell them I believe in God and God gonna protect me, they're gonna look, we can kill that Lord right now, because they already know that they got a business, they got a tradition in killing so-called people that's ready to die for God, believe in the spirit realm as some spook thing that's going to sit up there and watch out for you, which is foolishness. I mean, your lives are not even being watched out for on a daily level, let alone let alone you being protected by the government just because you believe in Allah or God or whatever. You better know some science and some magic. Some science and some magic, and you better tread anything that the government tell you not to get into. That's what you need to be getting into. And at this particular time, we're talking about such a diabolical government. So anything dark and deadly and wicked, that's what you need to be dealing with at this particular time. Because you feel comfortable in going to a government and they do all kind of wicked things and you don't even bat your eye.
That's right.
Like thousands of black people. 70% of black men is going to go to the Persian Gulf. And you all stick with me tonight because that's one of the main things. That's a key to that. And I'm going to tell you how this thing works. It's not about oil. It's not about nuclear weapons because Saddam Hussein works for Bush. Probably got his own room in the White House as well as Bin Laden. Remember now, like, yeah, that'll work. Remember now, the movie Wag the Dog, they say the only war you're going to get is the one that they give to you televised. One that is drawn out like a strip. You know, they plan these wars, what, 10, 15, 20 years in advance? So we know it's not about oil. It's not about oil. It's not about no nuclear weapons because we gave them the nuclear weapons. The oil fields was America's. The nuclear capabilities is ours, if they even have any. It has nothing to do with what they tell you it's about. And I'm going to get in tonight what's the real thing behind it. Remember now, if the government invented all of this, if Saddam Hussein works for the United States government, we don't know that because they could have killed him 10, 11 years ago. If Bin Laden works for the United States government or the Illuminati or the powers that be, if you understand it's a conspiracy, then what is really going on? And so I'm going to give you an elaborate array of what's really going on in the occult world and how this thing works and how they have to do this at this particular time. And why they're not telling you that the 70% of the people that's going to be fighting in Iraq is going to be black people, black men. And why they always show you the little white boys, little redneck white boys with the little fat ass babies and cracker mamas going to war. They'll show you crying, they show them, but they don't never show black people going to war. You know, you turn on the news every day and they'll show these troops shipping out, and it's always these white boys with some little white girl, but you don't never see nothing where they focus on the black soldiers. That is the reason why that is actually happening. Because it's 70% black. It's in this. You got to also understand how is this thing, in the last 3 months, it's now turned to a major ground war. But when it first started out, it was all about dropping bombs from the air. Now this thing is hooked into a major ground war. And if it's one of these things that ain't got all this so-called technology, they don't have to fight a ground war, why are they sending mass amounts of troops? Why are there troops from every single base that's not closed down is going to Iraq? You see, that's because we're dealing with the final showdown. You got to know what's really going on, and it has nothing to do with the apparent. That is the key when it comes to the initiate over the neophyte. The neophyte means new. The neophyte means the person that's on the first level. The neophyte always looks at the apparent. Does anybody know what the apparent? For those people who don't know, the apparent is what is put before you. What is the common thought. Never look at the apparent. The apparent is never the case. And in this case, the apparent has nothing to do with this war whatsoever. So we're going to get into that. We're going to get into a lot of new stuff. And if I can help it at all, I don't know. This brother made a mistake, and he said we got it's unlimited time.
That's right.
You don't need to do that to me.
That's right.
We're going to be here for about...
Yeah, we're going to be here.
Sister looking mad now, she going to be pissed off by the time we get through, because we're going to be here until you say, okay, that's enough. So we're going to pull about a good 6-7 hours. What the hell? Because in New York, I'm always strapped for time. It's always a timing factor. You always got to get out of the building, and that's a conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? Which means is if you can't find people that honor this stuff enough to understand that you're at warfare, you know what I'm saying, that you got to get out of a damn building, and Dempsey was good for that. You know, then shoot, find some place that is. I mean, it's not like you have this stuff all the time. You know, and we are in a Cold War. Somebody asked me, I was in Houston last week, what is a Cold War? A Cold War is anything other than a hot war, which is a conventional war that you know that they're getting ready to go to, which is the hot war. A Cold War is a silent war. You don't see it, but it's still war. And America, black America, is always under cold warfare. You see what I'm saying? But now we go into the hot war. So at least we need to just stick around and see what's going on. So, I mean, stay for the long haul. Also, like I said, this is a new crowd. You know, we got a lot of new faces, a lot of young faces, which is cool. And I think this, which is key. I think this is becoming geographical or becoming basically, I don't know, area-wise, because half the people in Harlem I'm seeing is not here tonight compared to the ones, you know, which is cool, because then again, on the other hand, we don't see the people from Brooklyn up in Harlem. Now, you must ask yourself this, because that might be some type of conspiracy. You never know what this beast is doing, to the point where as you don't travel certain places and you don't do certain things. We know this happens in Africa, which you're going to get into. The reason why you can't get on a highway like I-95 or this highway and drive all over Africa. That is by design. And one reason is not to mix the bloodlines or the bloodstream. We're going to get into that today also too, what they're trying to prevent. Got a lot of stuff we're going to deal with. We're going to pull these libations. We're going to pull the libations, and we're going to get into we start off with what we call the hard copy, or what we call the current events. And that's the stuff that's going on the mundane realm, just everyday life that, you know, some people fail to overlook, or some people see some stuff going on, but they want to have another answer to it. They want to know what's really going on. Remember, everything that's going on is based on ritual. Everything that they're doing is based on ritual. Just like this last thing that went down with Michael Jackson. It was a major ritual went down during Black History Month. Very key to understand, when they aired the 3 shows, it was during Black History Month. That's a ritual. And you must understand, when the ritual goes down, they are always in ritual. It's always somebody ruling. Like they say, we are subjects of the elite. We're subjects of the elite. The book The Black Sun talks about that in the epilogue, how we can all be subjects of some sinister plot of the elite groups. If you don't know anything, you must understand that every step of our life is designed for us. And also, we're going to get into a lot of that also, so we got a lot to jump into. I will pour the libation. Now, this is very interesting here, because there's an entire system of Cuba that was on lockdown since 1960, 61, 59, with the whole concept of the takeover of Fidel Castro, who is a government agent. Who works for the Illuminati. See, listen, look, let's look at a pattern here. If you go and you see Saddam Hussein now, what's the first thing they say? Oh, he was our friend 20 years ago, right? Okay, Bin Laden, oh, he was our friend 20 years ago. Well, if you understand anything with the takeover of Cuba from Batista, it was what? America was on the side of Fidel Castro. You remember this? Anybody remember this? Until he so-called did an about face. Now the key here is, and that's a part of scientific warfare, is to make you think that he's always in your corner. But it's just like Dick Gregory came and said the Freedom of Information Act is why they give him almost $1 billion a year or more. Give Castro. You understand how this thing goes? Oh, we look at this thing. Remember during the Christmas, it was all about Korea. It's been because Korea's got, you know, North Korea's bragging and all this type of stuff about their nuclear capabilities. Now all of a sudden, last weekend, America approved $1 billion contract or $1 billion grant or whatever for aid, for food aid for North Korea. Now we're going to listen to this now. During Christmas, and they're still talking about North Korea has nuclear capabilities. Thursday, they did an aerial shot in North Korea and they showed them with the nuclear reactor smoking, which means it is active. But yet, last Friday, They gave them $1 billion worth of food. Now, hell, if a person has nuclear capability so much that you're going to send black men to Iraq to fight on the same cause, what the shit you doing giving Korea food, which is way more substantial than Iraq? They got nuclear capability up and running. You understand what I'm saying? Whereas Iraq has been a part of sanctions for the last 11 years. And they just gave them $1 billion worth of food and approved it. United States government, Bush. Then you kind of understand that the North Korean, the guy that's in North Korea, he's a part of the same system. They're all sitting around in a conference call in Washington, D.C. with Bush laughing at this shit. Because it's all worldwide wrestling. Most important thing on TV, because worldwide wrestling shows you that they can put on a wrestling match and everybody know it's fake. But yet they will go to it as if it is real. And it's entertainment. But that has a lot to say. Worldwide wrestling is run just like the United States government. It's just that most people don't know it's fake. Our ghost government. So we got to understand these particular things that's going on. What is this about? Now they're opening up Cuba. They're opening up Cuba. And if anybody got any problem with the Castro thing, feel free to interject. Right now, I mean, you can, we can. I mean, you know, we can do this and all, because, you know, we always picking heroes instead of picking ourselves. You see, now we know that this, now don't get me wrong, a part of the intricate design is to show Castro being a better humanitarian towards black Cubans and Africans and all of this over the years. That is to lock you in. You see? So people say, yo man, they sent troops to Africa. You know, they got the best medical program in the world. Some of the best medical programs in the world. They got a 100% illiteracy. You see what I'm saying? There is no illiteracy. You see what I'm saying? So you look at these things and all, and you don't understand that that's all designed. That's all designed to give you the revolutionary that is not the revolutionary for yourself, outside of yourself. Now, why is this happening? What happened with Cuba? Number one, and this is very interesting because you know, they did a Disney special on Cuba back in 2001, and they said, and they did this special with the search of Atlantis, and they had concluded precisely that particular region was some form of a leftover form of Atlantis. So they did a whole thing on Disney, and they had it real accurate and all of this. That's one reason that the government already knew. They had this stuff years ago. Number two, Cuba had gambling, prostitution, just about everything that Las Vegas has now. Cuba had it. But number one, Cuba had a complete black population that Las Vegas doesn't have, and a complete magical population with Obeah, Cuban Santeria, Palo. You see what I'm saying? Some forms of voodoo. Vegas didn't have that, so that was the real magical land. Because whenever you have gambling, prostitution, and all types of carnal nightlife, that is up here in the spiritual realm, despite what the fuck you think. There's a difference between religion, which shuts down spirituality, and spirituality, which is a celebration of those things that religion tells you not to be about. Now, they can be perversion, you can overdo anything. But the key here is, that's a form of the freedom of the spirit when you have those particular vices. Gambling, prostitution, nightlife, drugs. You ever study spirituality, you find out that that's at the heart of spirituality. I know that sounds crazy. You know, and I understand that there's a perversion of different things, that you can overdo things, but in real spirituality, these things are paramount to society. So they had all that, and they had the black element, And they had the magical side with all of the different West African traditional religions, spiritualities. Vegas didn't have that. So therefore, they had to shut it down for that particular reason. As well as it being a mystical land that they're now looking at as a form of Atlantis. Now this is interesting here because they have just now started to open this stuff back up within the last 2-3 years. So this year, since they started opening up Cuba more and more, now all types of stuff that was banned in this country, like Palo. Palo is the most potent form of West African Congo rites, a West African spiritual system, because it's not as saturated as Yoruba and Voodoo has now become, because they've become millions of followers and 3 million white practitioners in Yoruba alone in the continental United States. I didn't say Santeria, which is the Afro-Caribbean form of Yoruba. I said, which is full of whites, and there has been in the Hispanic world. But I said that 3 million Yoruba, which means that the only way they could get jacked in was through Nigeria, mainly. That these 3 million Yoruba white practitioners was jacked into this religion by thug-ass Nigerian priests that you call these babalawos. These is a bunch of thug-ass shyster niggas that will do anything for $4,000, which is the going rate. Know the difference between religion and pimpism. Anybody want to challenge me on this shit? You can challenge me on it now. Any Yoruba people up in here want to challenge me on this shit? You can challenge me now. Don't tell me these doggone Nigerians ain't been pimping the doggone system. You see what I'm saying? Thug-ass Nigerians that's done jacked in 3 million white practitioners in the United States. They got a whole Jew boy from Chicago that sets over a whole crew of Yoruba. They got a Jew woman that just stood up and said she got this most potent form of Ifa going down. Crackers. New Orleans Voodoo, the New Orleans Voodoo Society, a museum, all run by white people. You see, so they are usurping this religion at a maximum pace. So the only thing that was left, that was shut outside the United States, you couldn't get nothing up until January on Palo. Not unless you travel there, but hardly no literature in the United States, except one little book that's out of print now. You couldn't get anything until December on Palo, period. It was banned in the continental United States until the curtain started coming down in Cuba. So this means that Castro was a part of that plan to lock down a magical system to take these crackers out years ago. Now, it was just in August that they started translating the Palo's information, and the stuff just hit the United States. You'll find these all over New York. Now, this is the one called The Book on Palo. It's by Bobbyhemmitt, Canizares, Canizares. Now, there's one thing you got to start doing. This is key for people that is in the doggone warfare. You should never leave the house without a pencil and a piece of paper. You grown people. Let me tell you what I'm talking about here. In 1996, I only have a few white people that ever sat in on my lectures. But one day a white girl showed up at the door. And I asked, I had a radio show, and I said, did this white girl hear the radio show? They said, that's why she's here. I said, well, she done heard me talking shit about white folks. Let her in. And I never saw that white girl's face. Why? Because unlike you all, she never looked up because she was busy copying down every single book that I had. And that's what I'm trying to say about a world-class people. You can't pay money to come up in here and you don't have pencil and piece of paper. You see what I'm saying? Now I know you're going to get the tape, so I'm not talking about you. Yes, you're going to buy the tape. Right. But I'm trying to say it is crucial at this particular time that you have the ammunition. It is spiritual. We're talking about warfare here. And there's a book called The Book on Apollo by Canizares. Canizares. The Book on Apollo. This is one of the few things that's in the continental United States and just came out in December. You see, came out in December. Very key, very crucial. We saw 2 or 3 copies of it on. What's that? Macaba?
Bookstore.
Yeah, well, tell the brother back there to access some of this. You see, access some of this and stuff. This is the warfare. This is the warfare against all of the Illuminati stuff that they're talking about. You got to know the systems and the centers of power and the reason why they locked down Cuba for 40 years. You see, you got to understand what was going on. Now they said that around the same time, all they heard throughout the land of Cuba was Palo. Palo in the morning, Palo in the evening. So we're talking about the strongest form of the African traditional religion to survive. To survive. And so, all of a sudden, they really, at this particular time, don't really care. They got to do what they got to do anyway, and they couldn't hold things back for so long, so they just say that they would say, well, what the hell? We'll just wait till the millennium and then break this thing down with Cuba. But the key here is, this is the new stuff, and there's several other books. There's one called Paulo Primer, little $4 book, and this one is $21. The book on Paulo. And this is the leftover aspect and the missing halves of the Egyptian mystery system, and the missing half of the Yoruba, who basically got rid of the underworld mysteries. And we're going to get into this and all, and so that you can understand what's going on in this particular time, and this dispensation of time. We'll get into this in a few minutes. I'll post some libations in a few minutes. But so they're opening up Cuba to deal with certain things. First of all, they want to open it up for the simple fact when they realize that it was Atlantis, they want to get good relationships because every country around the world is down there excavating Cuba and digging all over Cuba. So America's trying to get back up in there, which they can do because Castro was all on their side from the get-go. There's no big deal on that, on the get-go. So the key here is, this whole thing right now is an occult war on the planet. It's an occult war, and it's more important because they understand that no other forms of liberation is going to take them off the planet. I don't care how much the shit sounds good to you. You in romanticism, like John Henry Clark said, if you think that you're going to deal with it outside of your centers of spirituality. And your centers of spirituality is not what the devil does. You see what I'm saying? So therefore you got to understand what he's mainly concerned with is your magic. It's your magic. This is the most important thing that's going down. It's going down. So everything that we're dealing with now with this European is a ritual. It is a ritual. It is a ritual on every aspect of our lives. He's in control, and he's doing rituals when we're walking around thinking it's 1975.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? We're talking about people that's so advanced until almost 100 years ahead of black people.
That's right.
You see, but they're losing the war. They're losing the war until they hope to show down in the desert, which is a major pivotal point. This is like Custer's last stand, because it has nothing to do with, like I keep repeating, with oil or with nuclear weapons. We're going to get into this day on what this thing is actually about and what it is and how they're going to lose this particular war. And we're going to get into the spiritual breakthroughs that happened from 2001 on up when the millennium started. Now I say that because last June was my 10-year anniversary speaking. And from 1992 to 2001, almost 9 years, I had to unmask the theory. I had to unmask the different aspects of occult literature or hidden literature around the planet and present this in the lectures. But secretively, I was under an initiation. While I was going and giving all these lectures, I was actually doing research to break certain gateways. And going ahead of myself, 2001, I saw the major breaks. Well, actually, 2000, they started coming at a slower pace, but they were there. In 2001, the stuff just opened up. The gateways opened up. Now, as a result, the white boy might run around this mother, but he ain't running it. And everything he's doing is running scared. He has to go up into Kuwait, and we're going to give you the real deal on what's actually going on there. What's actually going on. So let's post some libations to the gods. We're going to spit this, which is key. I said I wanted to go to the liquor store, and I found this thing here, this Puerto Rican rum, Palo, what's that, Vijo?
Veil. Palo Veil.
What's that?
Yeah.
Diego. Okay, I want to get it right. Shit, you know. I'm from South Carolina, shit. Palo Diego. So I ain't El Segundo, so shit. Y'all help me out with it. Which is very key here. I'm going to pass this picture around because this is interesting here. This is a picture of some black girl that she has on henna. She has on I think that's amber around her chest. She has the dreadlocks, and she's all culturally balanced, but she's holding some mutant. Or in this particular case, some hybrid. I'm going to pass this around and show you that there's always a ritual going down. There's always a ritual going down. You want to put that on the camera, first of all. You want to get a good camera on TV land to get that. There's, they're all, this is some stuff that's always going around. Okay, you can pass that around and let the people see it. And remember now, we're talking Cold War. And Cold War is based on image. Character assassination. Image. That's why they're getting ready to assassinate the character of black folks when the government tells Al Sharpton to run for president. I'm going to show you the elaborate aspect of image. You got to understand this. Image is everything. And I know this for a fact. When I'm on a plane with a brother from Kenya, meet a brother from Kenya in September. I'm sitting beside the brother from Kenya. He look at me and say, "Why are you all on drugs?" I said, "Man, we damn near 40 million people. What the hell are you talking about?" That's like you go into the forest and one tree burns down and you go, "Why are you burning down the trees?" So we 40 million. He said, "I didn't know that." I said, we got over 130 years of education and scholarship. He said, "I didn't know that." I said, "We had over 130 black colleges, and we got more black people in white colleges because there's more white colleges in the land." He said, "I didn't know that." I said, "We graduate more people from college and high school than any black people on the planet." I didn't know that. I said, "We have black people that fill every position in the continental United States but vice president and president." He said, "I didn't know that." So we're talking about mind control, whereas they only know what is the pathetic characters they put on that TV set. You see, that's the only thing they're gonna know. And that's what we don't understand. So as far as he was concerned, there was 3 or 4 black people living in America that was on drugs. You see the concept? So image and mind control is the order of the day. It is the greatest system ever put forth, except the other one. And I will read what the white people feel about you in a few minutes. Except the other one is that they can contain you because you don't read. Not talking about you. I hope I'm not. They can contain you because you do not read. I'm going to give you some new thoughts on how they feel about you. Not necessarily that we're monitoring what white people feel about us. I happen to pick up this because I know the motherfuckers is telling the truth. That's the difference. You see the concept here. Now, so we're talking about cold warfare. And so that is still the image of the day. That's why on the show Sister Girl, it comes on with Diana Ross' daughter. She on that one of those? Girlfriend. The white boy is becoming the more and more preferred male. That's by design. And we'll get into the science on why that's by design, because they're trying to save a bloodline. They're trying to jack themselves into the future because they know they can't make it. You got to understand what's going on here. You see what I'm saying? And which the infamous Newsweek magazine last week is not concerned about black people, where they say, from schools to jobs, black women are rising much faster than black men. What does it mean for work, family, and race relations? They're not concerned about the black man. Hell, they're the one that locked the black man down. They're the one that made this divide. So this is not a celebration of black women. This is a doggone celebration of white people saying this is warfare and it's winning.
Right, that's right.
That's the first key to warfare is you must suppress the male in warfare. That's what warfare is. Warfare is usually fought by males. So when you conquer a person, you suppress the male and you endear the female. When you endear the female, you give her the mind, so therefore the mindset that you give her can go on to the children. Same thing. Now this is what this is about. They got Star Jones, Beyonce, and this other woman, Melody Hudson, Money Manager. And they got all this on here. So this is not a celebration of black achievement for black women. This is a celebration of white warfare, white supremacy, saying a job well done. You got to understand what's going on here. And this was last week's Newsweek. You see, this is very key on how this is going down. You see, now, let's post some libation because we got a long way to go.
All right, when we get to the garbage can, we will put libation.
Oh, we can't do it with the garbage can. Well, I spit the wrong. And that'll work. That'll work. Yeah. Wash that out a little bit. You got some sink back there? You know, just knock some dust off of it. And stuff, yeah. Y'all all right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, we got a lot to deal with. Let's see here. We know we're getting through that, and that's good. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. How much water you got? You got some more water? Did you bring some more? Well, that's for your drinking? Okay, well, I'm going to pour this, and I need some for myself periodically. Yeah. That'll work, you know, so you know. We can share. Bring enough for all the class. All right. We'll start off with the Apollo. This is the only one that was given to the United States in 1994. This is Palo Menombe by The Dark Side of Santeria by Carlos Gardeno Montenegro. Carlos Gardeno Montenegro. Testing, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. This is Palo Menombe. This is the one that just so happened that when I started teaching on this, it went right out of print. And this has always happened. There's a book called GURPS Voodoo Wars, which is a role-playing game that they get into, the Europeans get into, and they take these things and you get both sides, and it ain't a matter of good always triumphs over evil. Whoever's creative enough will win, and they got these whole role-playing games. You go downtown to the the comic book store, the Planet. What's the name of that? Forbidden Planet. There's a whole role-playing section. There was one called GURPS Voodoo Wars, where the Voodoo, which was supposed to be a young group of people fighting against the Illuminati who was using Palo. So this was the whole thing. I started telling the people about the GURPS Voodoo Wars, and they got over 100 different types of books. GURPS Atlantis, GURPS Illuminati, GURPS Egypt. They got over 100 books, and the one that I started talking about is the one they discontinued. They discontinued. So it's very key that they do things like this. So so this particular book, we're gonna go from this particular book, and then I want to write down some of these names on the board that you will have to use along with the Palo Monte book, which is this particular book, the book on Palo that you're gonna get. Also, and you're gonna need to use your magic. Like I said, it is key now, and this is very important. For anybody that drives, at this particular time, you always need to do two things. You need to, for the ones that walk, you need to do this and drive. You need to take the dog Anubis. Anybody don't know what the god Anubis is? Raise your hand. Anybody have never seen the dog Anubis? So everybody in here knows what the dog Anubis is, the black dog in Egypt. You ever saw the black dog? Yeah, they know. Okay, you need to take this. There's a picture in the Book of the Dead that has Anubis, but you want a picture of Anubis' prostate, so it's going to look like this. Let's see if I can draw this thing. And he's on all fours. Well, this is the one you want instead of it. The Anubis that looks like this. This is the Anubis that you want. This is the one that you want. You want to imagine this Anubis. So you get a picture of this Anubis, Anpu, Anubis. You get a picture of this Anubis, and you imagine this Anubis on your top of your automobile. Creative imagination is everything. That's the Jedi mind tricks. Remember they were doing the Jedi mind tricks on Star Wars 1 and 2 and 3? Okay. These are the Jedi mind tricks. These are creative visualization. Anytime you put this, imagine that dog on your car, not just silhouette now. Don't get get a picture of Anubis and memorize what Anubis look like and put Anubis on the car, sitting on top of the car like this. And you'll never get stopped. The police won't stop you or anything. When you're on an airplane, you take Anubis and put Anubis on the airplane for protection. For you sisters walking at night, you take Anubis and you brothers. There's always one nigga better than the other. You brothers, you sisters, you walking at night, you take Anubis and put it on a leash and let him walk along beside you. Creative visualization, and you won't have any problems. This thing has been working. This thing has been working for me for 2 years. We ride anywhere we want to do, speed, do all kind of shit. These are things. Now, the reason why I say that is because the new frontier, they done locked up enough. See, they know even in warfare, there's only so many people you can lock up for crack, and the conventional way they lock up people for drugs or whatever. They know that there's going to be a group of people that's not going to succumb to that, because they're a group of people that's not in that particular level. They are much more advanced. So therefore, the new frontier on where they're going to be going after people is in your automobiles. And it's not a matter of locking you up. It's just that the tickets are going to be so high. You can take a wrong turn and have to end up paying $700 for just a wrong turn, and yet they hide the signs that you can't even see the fucking turn. You see this stuff that's going on? It'll be a sign behind the building. They say you turned the wrong way. Well, goddamn. So that's the new frontier. They're gonna fuck with you in your cars. You see, your automobiles. So this is one way also to do this. Another way to never get in a wreck is you take red steak or red meat and you rub it on your tires. And as long as you drive, you won't get in no wrecks if you take that red meat. That's an old Europe trick. You see. Another thing here is you can either split the elixirs that I talked about, or you can split the rum 4 ways in the car. If you don't mix up the elixir, Maya's rum is one of the best. You see, now with this what's that? Palo Vija or whatever. Just that shit. That look like that's the jam. Because I know it's the spirit, because when I told him, I said, go in the drugs. I told him last night, I said, go in the liquor store. And I said, he said, what you going to get? I said, I don't know. I said, something in here. And I went in the liquor store and went right to it. I said, that's it. That's it. So this might be the move. You spit it 4 ways. And I told you about the sister in L.A. was spitting the rum 4 ways in her car. Got stopped. With one driver for didn't have no insurance for 2 years. 3 years. Got stopped and gave him an old insurance ship that was 5 years old, a piece of paper. They said, move right along. Just like the Jedi mind trick. You see, just like the Jedi mind trick. So these are things that you're going to have to do magically. There's thousands of things that you can do with your mind. Creative visualization. That is the new eon magic. A lot of the rituals and stuff have been defunct. They have been depleted. Now that means that what is going on, you're having mutations in your body going on every day. So therefore your mind is the most powerful thing, and that's going to be the new frontier on how you survive. Is based on what you vision. If this is only an illusion, that's what's going to be the key. You see, that's going to be the key to this whole thing. That's the new frontier. He did say this shit does get hot up in here. He wasn't lying when he was telling you to be conservative on this shit here. Because I'm in Phoenix right now. He said about 3-4 times, no, you don't understand. This motherfucker can burn up. He was right. I know it might have been cold the other week. Damn. We're on the equator up in this. Okay. So let's pour the libations and get it on with. All right. Zarabanda. I say Zarabanda. I say Zarabanda. I say El Cristo Negro. Las Spiritus and Tranquilis. Now, what I need now is this. We're gonna go to the strip till we're gonna go so long until he gonna make sure that we don't do this no more. After the night, he gonna say his policies different. We have to cut down on that time. So we're going to push this thing as long as we can. You see what I'm saying? Yes. So we're in for the long haul. That's right. As soon as you cut down the damn heat, I might be going in 30 minutes. Now. Yeah. You talked about this time with that. That's right. You did some old Boston Celtics shit there. You know, in Boston, turn up the heat or something like that. Or cut off the damn air conditioning. So, yeah. You know, and Minnesota Vikings used to cut off the heaters on the field, knowing the other team from out west can't take the cold. So now, okay. So now what I want you to do is I need loud arches. Right. Because you generate a certain energy, and that's that force field. And it's a healing force field. So the louder your arches are in that force field, the more and more energy we can generate. And therefore, what seems to be 6 hours will only seem like 2 hours. You see what I'm saying? And that's how it's done. Okay, so El Cristo Negro. All right. Las Spiritus and Tranquilis. Santísima Muerte. San Simón. El Cristo Rey. Madre de la Luna. Madre de Agua. La Santísima Pedro Ina. Francisco de Pizzarella. Mama Shola. Pizza. Okay. Hold on 1 minute. Let's get this thing going. Aguzu. Aguzu. Atain. Azaka. Bodo. Didi. Sa. Oshun, Olokun, Oshosi, Yiminya, Oya, Misharoku, Dambalawedo, Eredo, Haas, Perseus, Anna, Akali, Shakti, Shiva, Rudra, that's Ashinku, Kimra, Kiladis, Mintu, Mansu. Okay, all right. Kakumbo, Okeo, Okicha, Asheja, Sheola, Shubala, Omagumu, Alcala, Owalensu, Labado. Okay, hold on. Let's get this right. All right. Luigi, Atama, Odawado, Makwa, Ogawadi, Loua, Odogu, Biwasta, Amati, Odawage. Okay, hold on. Let's want to get a few. All right. Let's see it. Urzuli Ki, Urzuli Kinai, Urzuli Talia, Urzuli Bumba. Okay, let's get some more. Razuli, Razuli Frida, Mistress Azuli, Azuli Doba, Grand Azuli, Man Samadi, Wadi Bray, Wadi Double, Wadi Beckety, Wadi Tipity, Wadi Zibabity, Wadi Tiwa, Grand Samadi, Bridget, I am the Puck, Bad Crusty, Obazu, Akwazi, Sapo, Betty, Agu, Akwi, Loco, Adam Loco, Loco Aki. Okay, hold on 1 minute, let's see here. Simbi, Congo Nasbash, Congo Sabish, Kapalo, Mandadangi, Kanga, Wumba, Sheila, TG Neto, TGPP, TGPZ, Benetti PC, Mandadangi Muasi, Nishale, Yalasinia, okay, Osa, Asek, Heru, Heruaha, Nepher, Heru, Luke, Epic, Tire, Raha Chu, Kali, Kalima, Tara, Timahati, Sura, Netter, Nephilim, Nibiru, Nebheru, Hutu, Digitalian Statement, Nomo, Hama, Yama, Ba, Na, Ha, Yuru, Digitalian Statement, Imhotep, Imhotep Amutep, Sheba, Solomon, Iminya, Imiya. Okay, hold on. Noon, Mut, Kansu, Mintu, Minjapsisi, Sekmet, Sashet, Maya, Heket, Rashui, Hes, Butit, Gudum, Baal Shim, Saka, Alafi, Mithra, Abraxas, hold on. Perseus, Apollo, Hercules, Eros, Psyche, Cupid, Jason, Medea, Echidna, Ereskadu, Inanna, Ishtar, Astarte. Let's see. Harpocrates, Heruraha, Orseti, Sutnubit, Sutnesi, Shu, Chapnu, Noon, Sophia, Anna, Rhea, Sari, Okanos, Carnazon. Okay, let's see this. Let's see if that's enough. Let's see a few more. Pravati, Sati, Terra, Vetra, Vishnu, Vishnu Prana, Siva, Kundalini. Okay, I guess that will be enough. Amit, Kimu, Heru, Kitiamitu, both sides Kitiamitu. Let's see. Yeah, that'll do for right now. Okay, 1, 2, 3, start calling out your family members. 1, 2, 3, start calling out your family members. Ashe, all the ones that passed. Ashe, I know you got a bunch of niggas dying. Ashe, y'all show off shame of y'all family members. Ashe, okay. To all gods on our side, known and unknown. Ashe. All ancestors, known and unknown. Ashe. Okay. All right. Good roll call, so we can roll now. Okay. Let's see where we are here. We're gonna start off. I want to read this one little piece here. This is what I'll do is for the people here, we will get some of these Xerox. You put it on your table.
All right.
Charge them $1 or whatever, you know, to get one of these things here, you know, to pay for your Xerox. But this is very interesting. This is some question on some radio show. Let's see, it was some radio show that aired about a couple of weeks ago. And this is what it says here. A radio station in New York. This morning on the radio station, in the New York radio station, Dr. D. Lee was reading this, whoever that is. You ever heard of a D. Lee? Article D. Lee? I don't know. Anyway, it says what it has to say is very deep and true. This is a heavy piece, and a Caucasian wrote it. Now, this is what they said. Blacks do not read. They are still our slaves. We can contain them to reap the benefits from blacks with the effort of physical slavery. Now, let me get this right. We can continue. Oh, no, okay. Let me go ahead. We'll get this right. we can continue to reap the benefits, that's what it was, from blacks without effort of physical slavery. Look at the current methods of containment that they use on themselves. Ignorance, greed, and selfishness. Their ignorance is primary weapon of containment. A great man once said that the best thing to keep from a black person, you know, is to put it in a book. You heard that before. Now, this is what they said. We now live in an information age. They gained the opportunity to read any book on any subject through the efforts of the fight of their freedom. They're talking about black people. Yet they refuse to read. There are numerous of books ready available at Borders, Barnes & Nobles, Amazon.com, not to mention their own black bookstores that provide a solid blueprint to reach economic equality. And they go on and on. They talk about Tommy Hilfiger in here, how we love him, although he's said that he don't want you wearing his clothes. Wow. Niggas are still wearing his shit. And they go on, but that was one of the key. I don't want to read the whole thing. But what they was talking about, and because I thought it's one of the most basic premises. Now, fortunately for New York, it's probably one of the better examples because you have a lot of availability of books. And Atlanta has a lot of books too, but would probably fit more of this particular stereotype. But then again, on the other hand, we can tell by when you go to black people's houses and you see more records than books. You see, this is fundamental. You see, that we need to study.
That's right.
We need to study. So we know that black people go, well, you know, we know black people, we know that we just don't do this, we just don't do that. But isn't it funny that when that white boy wants you to get qualified on your job, he will put something before you this thick and you'll study every damn bit and ace the test. So we know we're capable of doing what we want to do. You see, so that's one of the keys on this particular thing. So it's just very interesting. But it's a lot of stuff in here that they talked about, but I don't want to bore you with the whole article because I got a lot of things I want to deal with right now. But we will keep this article and you will be able to get this article. Oh shoot, I didn't do the one thing. No wonder why they was knocking me in the head saying you ain't through yet. Shit.
All right. All right.
I shade. Okay. The ritual ain't over yet. Where's that cup? They told me to libate myself. Okay. All right. Okay. First thing first, I want to deal with this Michael Jackson thing that went down. Number one, at first I was going along with it because we know all that shit about Michael Jackson. That we see he is weird, he is strange and all this kind of stuff here. We all know that, and it's kind of easy to beat up on someone that's pathological. But this is when the Spirit gave it to me. Certain things will happen spiritually, and it can happen 2 weeks before, a week before, 2 weeks before, and then when it goes down, what you did 2 weeks before time will end up being the key for you to make your decision on what's going on at that particular time. 2 weeks before these specials started airing on Michael Jackson, I got Off the Wall out and started jamming that Off the Wall, and got Thriller out, started jamming that, and Bad. I said, you know, and it took me back to a whole nother dimension. And so throughout the whole week, people was coming over, and I was playing some Michael Jackson, and everybody was like, oh shit, this is on History Month. And I looked down in my album collection, and I didn't want to play Michael Jackson. I said, oh shit. These two specials have already affected the way I'm viewing things, and I'm supposed to be conscious and supposed to be a person that's always deciphering. That let you know how powerful the media is. I'm looking at this thing and I'm going, wait a minute, hold on. They have already affected my consciousness on the way I view things just by looking at the two specials. And that was the first move. And the Spirit said, now come on now. First of all, everything they're talking about Michael Jackson, him being white, all this stuff, the pedophilia, all this stuff, everything they're talking about Michael Jackson, he was 10 years ago when they loved him. In 1997 when Bad came out, he was white. All other psychological things was already done and they loved him. So, we know that they are not concerned about Michael Jackson or none of this stuff. We know that this was a ritual. Now, meanwhile, this is Black History Month. And by this being Black History Month, I'm looking at this thing and going, we only got 28 days set aside to commemorate black achievement in this country. Well, first of all, I said that's spiritual because Carter G. Wilson is the one that gave us Black History Month. And the 28 days is cool because there's a 28-day menstrual cycle. You see? So, spiritually, that has something to do with some things. You see what I'm saying? You get in discrepancy with the blood, there's still a cycle. Our calendar is built from the word Kali, or Kalas, which we're going to get into tonight also. And the whole time thing, based on the woman's cycle. So the 28 days, that's not bad, but the point I'm trying to make here, we still only get 28 days. And the time when they're supposed to be commemorating black achievement, the major thing is they put something that was so powerful with this Michael Jackson thing till it eclipsed everything else that was going down on Black History Month. But they just didn't stop there because they did a special on Diana Ross. You see, and was all fucked up. Now, we're not saying that these people don't have issues. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the point here. That's sometimes when we cloud the issue because it's easier to take a person who has issues and you don't look underneath the surface because you're focusing on the pathology. You get where I'm coming from here? So it's easy to take a person who has pathology to camouflage what they're trying to do. And we just get into the pathological system of that particular person. So they did one on Diana Ross. They reran the one on Michael, on Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown. They did another one on OJ. You see? So the whole concept here is, they focused on the black pathology along with the Michael Jackson thing. This was a ritual to cast a shadow and to eclipse Black History Month. You see? To eclipse Black History Month. So a big ritual was going down. And it didn't hurt the fact that Michael Jackson went to Harlem and talked shit about white folks. As well as I'm more inclined to believe the voodoo thing that's supposed to hear went and paid some voodoo or some babalawo or something to put a